Welcome, esteemed listeners, to our podcast series, Another Lecture. I am Professor Alexei, and along with my co-host Priyanka, we delve into topics that have significantly shaped our understanding of media, politics, and their intersection. Today, we cover a subject of interest to many: the role of Sean Hannity in the media landscape.
Hi everyone, I'm Priyanka. The title of today's episode is The Influence and Impact of Sean Hannity, an Examination. We'll be exploring how his presence as a media personality has influenced the political strata. So let's dive in.
To begin, we shall define Sean Hannity's role as a prominent media personality. Fundamentally, Sean Hannity has cultivated a vast presence in both radio and television as a bastion of conservative commentary. His syndicated radio program, The Sean Hannity Show, reaches millions of listeners nationwide, a featuring that underscores the efficacy of syndication in expanding a media personality's influence beyond local boundaries. Likewise, his televised presence on Fox News further amplifies his voice within the conservative media landscape, rendering him a pivotal figure in what we might term the media ecosystem.
Exactly. I think his ability to shape narratives can't be underestimated, especially in North America. His commentary often blurs the lines between journalism and political advocacy, making Hannity a fascinating case study in media influence.
Indeed, it's crucial to understand his significance. Sean Hannity is not merely a voice in conservative media. He has actively shaped public opinion, predominantly aligning with right-leaning ideologies. Historically, this has presented challenges as we attempt to distinguish between journalism and political advocacy. Hannity stands at this very intersection.
Let's consider some of the basic facts about his career. First, his informal advisory role to Donald Trump is quite significant. To be so closely aligned with a sitting president is unusual for a media figure. Then there's his real estate investment, managing over 877 properties. That's really something. And of course, his controversial stances on certain conspiracy theories. It's like a dual role of media personality and influencer.
Speaking of highlights, let's chronologically explore some milestone events. For instance, in 2001, The Sean Hannity Show commenced national syndication, a pivotal moment that significantly broadened his audience. Prior to this, in 1996, Hannity had established himself within television by co-hosting Hannity and Combs. Following Alan Combs' departure, the program transitioned into what we now know as Hannity, beginning in 2009. This trajectory underscores a consistent escalation of influence within the media realms. Now, I would like to share a personal reflection, if I may. During my tenure in academia, perhaps somewhat distant from the intricacies of broadcast media, I nevertheless observed how narrators such as Hannity could shape societal perceptions. It is evident that Hannity's commentary constructs a framework from which his audience forms its worldview.
That sounds really interesting. I guess it makes me wonder, how does Hannity's role as a conservative media personality actually shape political perceptions, especially with his audience's own ideologies?
What we observe here is a convergence of media dissemination and ideological reinforcement. Hannity's rhetoric, imbued with conservative ideologies, serves not merely as commentary, but as a lens through which many interpret political events. It may be posited that his broadcasts do influence public discourse by seeding and perpetuating particular viewpoints. To further elaborate, one might argue that the seamless blend of opinion and factual reporting establishes a potent platform for shaping political narratives.
Right. And what about his relationship with Trump? I'm curious about whether there are ethical implications in terms of journalism. Is there a conflict of interest with Hannity offering advice to Trump?
It's important to understand that Hannity's dynamic with Trump necessitates scrutiny from an ethical standpoint. Essentially, the crossing of professional and personal boundaries may indeed engender potential conflicts of interest, as advocacy and counsel become blurred. In this context, what we see is a mingling of media presence and political strategy that raises questions about impartiality and integrity within journalistic practices.
And now, what about the controversies surrounding the promotion of dubious narratives? I'm thinking of things like the election fraud theories. How do these shape public trust, and what's the accountability in broadcasting controversial ideas?
This brings us to the complex landscape of responsibility within media dissemination. When discussing promoting controversial theories, the necessity for accountability becomes apparent. While Hannity's broadcasts disseminate persuasive narratives, the implications of such storytelling on public trust and societal cohesion remain a crucial area for further exploration. Perhaps more stringent regulatory frameworks and transparency measures are warranted to mitigate the propagation of potentially misleading information. In conclusion, the interplay of media influence and public perception necessitates ongoing vigilance and examination.
So in summary, Sean Hannity's influence as a media figure is, truly impactful. We've explored how his work affects public perception, the ethical questions of his close ties with Trump, and, essentially, the challenges of responsibly handling narratives. There's so much to think about regarding media's role in politics.
Indeed. As we conclude, it's essential for our listeners to continue considering the intricate relationships between media influence and the political world, as well as the implications on both cognitive frameworks and societal discourse. Thank you for joining us in this enlightening exploration. Until next time, may your inquiries be insightful and your pursuits rewarding.